The reason why we're talking to you today is this new tune, Stars. I'm sorry, it is our Jam Hot record of the week, but it's a special song.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Yeah. It's been a long time coming, this one.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about that because you said when you recorded the voice note for us a couple of weeks ago that it was a long time coming in, and you posted on your socials the process of making this song. For anyone that hasn't seen it yet, break it down for us. How did it all start off for you with the Steve Winwood sample?
When I go through periods where maybe I'm not sort of feeling that inspired in the studio to work on something, I'll do like a day maybe just doing sample digging. I thought maybe Steve Winwood's got one more in the bank. You know? Because obviously if people don't, I don't know if everybody would know that, but obviously Call on Me, the Eric Prydz record, that is a Steve Winwood sample. And I guess it's such a huge, iconic Steve Winwood vocal. Mm-hmm. And I think one day I was like, maybe I'll just check and see if there's, if he's got anything else going on.
Trust me, I've combed his entire back catalogue and couldn't find anything else. I just found loads of tunes that I really, really liked, but nothing that would lend itself to another big dance record. But you found it. It's
mad because when you do find it, you're sort of like, how has this not been done? So I'm like checking to make sure nobody else has used it, and then you have to clear it, which is a whole other thing. Oh. So that takes time.
How was that process? Because Steve notoriously re-recorded the Valerie vocals for Eric Prydz on Call on Me because he didn't quite like how it looped. How was that process, clearing that sample?
Steve actually loves the record, and he was like, I'll re-record it if you want, because I love re-recording stuff. But if you love it, keep it as it is. And I'm like, let's just carry on and keep it as it is because it just feels great. So yeah, we managed to get that done. And then I had this sort of, in the beginning, I had this little gospel choir snippet, like sample in there, which I knew I wanted to sort of elaborate on a bit as well. So I ended up going in with a gospel choir and re-recording that, as well as like writing new parts as well, which kind of gives it this sort of back and forth hook kind of thing. And it just developed over time, but it did take a year. So it's been a while. I'm happy with it, and that's what.
See, you've got to get it to a point where not only are you happy with it, but also it's in a space where you feel like it's finished. Because the producer thing is always, we could have just added, I could just add this, or I could just, do you know what I mean? You've got to get it to a space where you're like, no, we're done, on it goes.
Yeah, and I don't think that ever ends for me either. So I just have to, at some point, I'm just like, let it go, It's sort of, for me, it feels kind of unique at this point in music because, like a lot of things are sped up now, and there's a resurgence of the 140 BPM, like 4 to the floor stuff, which I love.
And you're also partially responsible for?
Which I have done a bit of, yeah. So it was very tempting for me to just speed it up as well at the end, but and I did speed it up by 3 BPM, but I couldn't get away with the 140. So.
Wait for the remixes. The remix package will have one.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've got to get one for sure. But no, it feels like it's a nostalgic record again. Like like Talamanca was for me. It was almost like a nod to that era of music that made me love dance music. So, all those records, Call on Me, Another Chance by Roger Sanchez, like So Much Love to Give by like Thomas Bangalter and DJ Falcon. It's like that kind of era of music is what made me love dance music and made me want to be a producer. So if I can sort of hint on that in a fresh way, that's the ideal ground for me. So, and I just hope like people feel that same sort of nostalgia, or that same sort of uplifting feeling when they hear it. So we'll see.
No, honestly, I think they will, because the first thing for me is that, as you say, when I first heard it, I'm like, this feels so familiar, but it also feels so very fresh at the same time. So you've absolutely nailed the brief, 100%.
Right. I'm glad to hear that. That's what I want the feeling to be, Like you kind of heard it before, but you haven't. It's that. So...
The other thing I've got to mention as well is that video that you put up on the socials at the start of it. Man, Cool Dad vibes. You were giving full-on Cool Dad vibes. The goat eating your hat.
You've got the same thing. You've got the same thing going on, mate. You know what it is? We're cool dads. We're cool dads in the music industry, and we hang out with baby goats now and again. You got to go to the goat petting zoo and be a cool dad. But no, I've got twin girls right now, 2-year-olds, so it's hectic over here.
Wow.
So I'm squeezing that in as well.
How are you managing to do that?
But it's a lot, but it's amazing, you know. And as you know as well, it's like it's incredible. And actually, what I do now is I can sort of test the music with the kids.
Yes.
And I can tell if it's good.
Yeah.
You know,
because they will never lie.
Yeah, no, they're just so straight with everything that you know if the reaction is good, it's a good record.
I actually want to talk about some of the other work that you've been doing this year, because, I mean, you know, you've worked with Calvin on arguably 2 of the biggest records in dance music of the last 5 years. Talamanca still is absolutely doing bits.
It worked, you know, it's worked a couple of times now. So hopefully, you know, who knows what the next, you know, he sort of works on something and puts it out and then works on something again. So you never know what direction he's going to go in. So, but as long as it stays in this world, you know, maybe we'll keep doing it if it's working, you know.
You should get him to do a remix of Stars.
Yeah, I need to send the text and ask, actually. It's a good shot.
Because he did that really good remix of Peggy Goo.
And I did that Sunset mix for Miracle, so he owes me one now.
Imagine me. Yeah, mate, come on. Give us the remix.
You gotta repay me. Yeah, come on.
If it wasn't for the fact that we're on Zoom on your phone right now, I'd get you to send that text right now.
Maybe you can text him and ask for me.
I'll DM him this very second if you want me to.
Hey, Burns says, can you do the remix of Stars?
I mean, knowing the way that me and him communicate, I'll be left on red for a couple of weeks, but I'll still send it.
There we go. We put it into the universe. It's going to happen.
I really do owe you one, because you have saved my backside so many times over the last couple of years when I've been DJing. I went through a period where I hadn't DJ'd out, but I'd been on the radio for quite a while, but I hadn't actually played a club set for a good long time. And I wasn't quite sure what to do. I wasn't quite sure where to go. And Talamanca has been that record when I'm not quite sure what to play next. I play that and then all of a sudden it clicks. So I owe you one.
Wow, I love that. Well, yeah, thank you. It has become a bit of an anomaly, that tune. What's weird as well is that I sort of stopped DJing and then put Talamanca out, so I haven't actually experienced that myself. But I get phone calls every weekend from Ibiza with people just filming the tune going off. So at least I can experience it through FaceTime. When I was a kid and I sort of had the dream of being a producer, it wasn't the typical, like, I want to headline the main stage at festivals. It was always, I want to make music for other people as well. Like, I would love to be, you know, like, I used to read the liner notes of albums and stuff and figure out who produced stuff and who was working on what. And it was like, I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that's like behind the scenes, just like working with, you know, a multitude of genre acts. And now I feel like I'm sort of doing that a bit. So if I was to start touring, I feel like it would just take away from that side of, you know, what I do, which is the thing that I love the most. So
I think what you need to do is just a very small select window in the diary where you could just take literally, it can almost be your inspiration break. Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Come over here, come and absolutely kill it, DJing, and then go back home.
Yeah, if it was the right stuff, I would love to do it, because I do love DJing, but it's just my real passion is being in here and being a geek, you know?
Speaking of you being in the studio, man, I've got to ask, who recently has blown your mind in a session? Who have you been working with?
You know what? There's this new girl that I'm working with a lot called Hemlock Springs, but she has sort of been a breath of fresh air to me, because she's so new to it all, and she's a genius, but she doesn't realize it yet. You know what I mean? She's just doing what feels good. She's going to be absolutely huge at some point. So we've been working a lot. We're going to do a lot more, I guess. And but yeah, she's really blown me away. Obviously, everything that Calvin's doing right now is blowing me away as well, you know. But he's always going to be an inspiration to me.
But when obviously he's moved back over here, but when he was over in LA, you got to tell me some memories that you've got of you and him hanging out.
I play him a lot of my stuff just to get opinion. The good thing about him is I can trust that he's honest, you know, because we've known each other for so long. So a lot of the time it's just him telling me something's bad. Because no will do it, you know. So I appreciate that, because we lived together for a while as well. So we would go into each other's studios and stuff, and I would sit with him. We've done stuff before where we've just made records together as a joke, and that's been really interesting. Like we've just made like folk songs together and recorded like real instruments just to see what would happen, and made up like complete fictional stupid lyrics, but it's been a good venting thing, you know.
The problem is knowing your two's caliber, those would probably be like the best folk records released of the last decade.
They will never see the light of day, trust me. But I mean, I've been in the room with him while he's been making these tunes that have gone on to, you know, do billions and billions of streams and stuff, and it's amazing to just get to witness, you know, a small part of that, because he is, you know, he's a genius. He's a musical genius, really. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves, because he's not just, you know, like an EDM guy. You know what I mean? He's really the one. So he's been an inspiration to me since we've known each other. So I have a lot of thanks for him, you know, for inspiring and also letting me help out with stuff now at this point.
What's next for you? What are you up to? What is Stars the start of a few releases, or is this just, I'm going to put this record out and I'm going to disappear for another year, and then I'm going to give you another record that's going to define the year, and then I'm going to disappear, and then I'm going to put another record? You
know, I've got a few other ideas that I love that I would like to just get moving on. So who knows? Maybe in a few months there'll be another one out. But same as before, I don't really plan these things too well. I sort of coast along, making tunes that I like, and just hope that something good happens. And I think I just want the stuff that I put out, I want to really love it, you know? I don't want to be like, let's get something out because I haven't had anything out for a month or so or whatever, you know? It's like, it has to feel special. So that's just the way it is. Talamanca felt kind of like a special record, and this to me feels in the same sort of world to that. So if I can keep having the inspiration to do those kinds of things, then that's the way I would love to keep doing it.